Welcome along. Today we're doing a deep dive into API design.
Yes, we've got some material comparing REST and GraphQL.
Right. And the aim is pretty clear. Figure out the main differences, the strengths and weaknesses, so you get a feel for when you might use one over the other.
It all comes down to how different bits of software talk to each other, how they share data.
Exactly. APIs are sort of the plumbing behind the scenes.
Whether it's your phone checking for new emails or a website showing product info, APIs are doing that work, fetching or changing data.
And chances are most apps people use daily are powered by either REST or GraphQL, maybe without them even realizing it.
Probably, yeah.
Okay, let's tackle REST first. The material used a standard postal mail analogy, which I thought was quite good.
Oh, yeah, I like that one too.
Using those standard HTTP methods, get, post, put, delete, like different ways to send a letter for different tasks.
Right. Get to retrieve info, post to create something new, put to update, delete to remove. Basic create operations.
The big plus seems to be how standard it all is.
Definitely. Because it builds on familiar web protocols, the way services interact is, well, predictable. It's simple.
And that uniformity helps with caching too, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. Each piece of data, each resource usually has its own unique web address, its URL. Makes it pretty straightforward to store copies of frequently accessed data closer to the user.
Which means things can feel faster.
Exactly. Better performance.
But like meeting separate letters for different bits of info, REST can sometimes mean you need to make multiple requests, right? Multiple round trips.
That's the potential drawback, yes.
Right.
If you need, say, a user's profile and their latest comments and their purchase history.
You might have to ask for each piece separately.
Correct. Multiple requests back and forth.
Okay, so how does GraphQL differ? The analogy there was more like ordering exactly what you want from a menu.
It generally uses just one place to communicate, a single endpoint.
And the client, the app on your phone or browser, sends a specific query.
Precisely. A query that details exactly the data fields it needs, even nested things, like, give me this user's name and their last 3 posts, including the title and date of each post.
All in one go.
All in one request. And the server sends back only that data, no extra stuff you didn't ask for.
So much more targeted. The source also mentioned mutations and subscriptions.
Right. Mutations are basically how you change data with GraphQL, creating, updating, deleting. Similar actions to REST, just structured within the GraphQL approach.
And subscriptions.
That's for real-time updates. Like, instead of constantly asking, is there new data yet? The server can push updates to the client when they happen. Think live notifications or dashboards.
Okay, so GraphQL seems really good for pulling data together from maybe different places.
Yeah, it excels there. And it's very adaptable, especially when the front end, the user interface, changes a lot or needs very specific combinations of data.
Because the front end can just tweak its query without needing the back end team to build a whole new specific path for that data.
Exactly. It reduces coupling in that sense.
But there are trade-offs mentioned, like complexity moves a bit.
It can, yeah. The client application needs to be a bit smarter about constructing those detailed queries.
And security needs careful thought, maybe. So a badly formed query doesn't cause problems.
Absolutely. You need proper checks to prevent overly complex or malicious queries from overwhelming the server. Depth limiting, complexity scoring, things like that.
And caching. You said REST was straightforward.
GraphQL caching is, well, more involved. Since you don't have unique URLs for every specific data view like in REST, standard HTTP caching doesn't just work out of the box in the same way. You often need more sophisticated client-side or server-side strategies.
Got it. So bringing it all together, the big decision point. When REST, when GraphQL?
Like the material says, it's really context dependent. There's no single better one overall.
REST seems like a solid choice for maybe simpler APIs, public APIs, where consistency and that easy caching are really valuable.
Yeah, where you have well-defined resources and the interactions are fairly standard. Its maturity and ecosystem are huge pluses too.
But if you've got a complex application, maybe a mobile app or a single-page web app, where the front end needs change quickly, and you need to combine data from lots of different sources.
Then GraphQL becomes very appealing. That flexibility and efficiency in data fetching can be a major win, reducing the number of requests and the amount of data sent over the network.
So it boils down to the specific application's needs and probably the team's familiarity with the tech too.
Absolutely. Understanding these differences helps you make a better choice, or even just understand why a certain app you use behaves the way it does.
Okay, a final thought then for everyone listening. Think about some apps you use every day. your social feed, maybe an online store.
Mm-hmm.
Consider how they present information in lots of different pieces, constantly updating, or more straightforward displays.
Yeah, try to guess.
Right.
Are they likely using something like REST with its standard structure, or perhaps GraphQL, allowing for those really specific data requests?
And why might the developers have made that choice? What benefits are they getting? It's an interesting lens to view our digital world through.